Good morning, agents, and welcome to another daily episode of Target Loot today for October 30th, the series that shows you the Target Loot map, farming tips and tricks, vendor reset highlights, and much more. I'm Agent Shadow, and if you enjoy my content, please consider pressing those subscribe and like buttons below. In the pinned comment, there are links to join my Discord and clan and support my channel, but we'll cover those and more at the end of the video. Let's get started with the Dark Zones first and the highlights from the vendors this week, then DC, and finally New York City Target Loot highlights last. Alright agents, so this is just your daily reminder to get your weekly SHG requisition for your first exotic cache, and for some reason I never noticed this, or they just updated it yesterday, a named item cache as well. So that's incredible, that's great. I'd never noticed this before. You also get a named item with your exotic cache just for donating all these supplies. It's definitely worth doing. And remember, you can do this across all 4 characters. For your second exotic cache and second named item cache, you can complete the summit on any difficulty, which means normal, hard, challenging, whatever. Or you can hop in a group that's already on floor 90 or 100 and just finish it up. You don't have to start from floor 1. And then lastly, you got your weekly legendary mission. This week it's Roosevelt Island for your third exotic cache per character, which I highly recommend doing with an M1A build or just a turret drone build. Alright agents, now we're on the highlights for the Dark Zones. So to get this thing started, I did want to mention over here at the clan vendor, there is a pretty good rolled mop that you can pick up with that 10% armor on kill. I would just roll close and personal on it. That's probably the best talent you can roll on it in my opinion. Otherwise, in Dark Zone West today, we got Richter Kaiser as the targeted loot. There's no Dark Zone exclusive that I know of that's Richter and Kaiser, or at least not even that's worth farming either. But over in the DZ West vendor this week, you can get the Death Crypts. They roll with 117k armor, that 10% armor on kill, and then status effects for the third attribute slot. Now over here in DZ South, we got Fenris as the targeted loot. So for Fenris, there is a Dark Zone exclusive you can pick up. It's a chest piece called the Ferocious Calm, and it has perfect Overwatch on it. Otherwise, for the DZ South vendor, you can pick up the Door Kicker's Knock, which has perfect Spark on it, and it's rolled with weapon damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage. And then finally over here in DZ East, we do got targeted loot for Seska, which you can get the Devil's Due backpack with perfect clutch. That is a DZ exclusive that might be worth farming for. In my opinion, not really. Perfect clutch used to be really good and it's just not as good anymore. But as far as the DZ East vendor goes, there's nothing worth picking up either. So let's go ahead and move on to the North Side targeted loot highlights. Alright guys, now we're over here on the North Side targeted loot highlights. So real quick, I did want to let you guys know what the invaded missions are this week. So of course we got Lincoln Memorial over here. Tidal Basin is going to be the ultimate stronghold before you do, or after you do Capitol Building. And then I believe it's Jefferson Plaza, and then Space Administration HQ is the other one that is invaded. As far as the targeted loot goes, there's some pretty good stuff up here. Grupo Sombra, Coney Island Amusement Park, you want to run those 1 piece with DPS builds for that 15% crit hit damage, and then 2 pieces for that 15% explosive skill damage. You're going to put on, like a Seeker Mine and Artillery Turret build. Now holsters over here at Manning National Zoo. You can get 2 exotic holsters and 1 named one. So that's the Imperial Dynasty holster and the Forge holster. And then of course the Dodge City holster. All 3 of those are highly worth farming for. And if you don't have them, I would definitely get them today. Kinley College is open for another 3 days. And the summit, you can pick your own targeted loot. I haven't been to the summit in a little while. I like farming outside of it. But anyway, let's go check out the West Side targeted loot highlights. Alright guys, we're over here on the West Side targeted loot highlights. So to get this thing started off, we don't really have any gear sets over here. All we got is Negotiator's Dilemma West End. It's a DPS gear set, and it's actually worth farming for sure. I have a double LMG build I'll put in the top right card right now that utilizes 4 pieces of the Negotiator's Dilemma chest back. I think the chest piece, but not the backpack. And it's worth farming for sure. Now, for the legendary loot this week, we do got Hana Yu at Roosevelt Island, so you can farm for the Force Multiplier backpack with perfect combined arms. You want to get a backpack that rolls with skill haste and skill damage, and then throw like a skill haste or skill duration mod on it. Now, Force Multiplier gives you an extra 30% skill damage every 3 seconds that you're shooting and you land a hit on your target, and it's definitely worth running on like a turret drone build or a lot of skill damage builds. You do got Badger Tough at DARPA Research Lab, so you can farm for the 0F's chest piece with Perfect Unbreakable. That restores 100% of your armor every 55 seconds, and I got multiple builds with that, I believe, and it's definitely worth farming for sure. We got knee pads at the Pentagon. You can get a couple of exotic, you can get the Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads, you get the Sawyer's knee pads, and then the Fox's Prayer knee pads. Although I did see Overlords somewhere over here on the east side. That's where I would farm for Fox's Prayer knee pads with that 8% damage to targets out of cover. Otherwise, I would farm the Pentagon today for that Ninja Bike Messenger knee pads and the Sawyer's knee pads. You got rifles at West Potomac Park, so of course the Diamondback and Merciless are the two exotic rifles you can get. And I don't totally recommend getting those that much. I don't really use them ever, but I definitely use my M1A more than those two. And I always run either Ranger, Boomerang, or Rifleman on those Rangers, on those rifles. I think they're the best damage talents for rifles in this game. You got submachine guns at Tidal Base and Stronghold, so you can farm for the Lady Death and the Chatterbox if you've already gotten it from the quest. If you haven't, I'll put a video that's really fast. It shows you how to get the Chatterbox real quick in the top right card right now. Otherwise, you want to farm for a Vector variant or an MPX. Those are the best archetypes of SMGs in this game, I believe. And then, yeah, the Dark Winter and the Apartment are Dark Zone exclusives. As far as the Light Zone goes, which you can get to drop out here in DC, you can get the Safety Distance with Perfect Outsider and the Swap Chain, which is one of the named MP7s. You got Walker Harrison Co. at DCD, so that's would be the Perfect Headhunter talent on the Chain Killer chest piece. That's always worth farming for, because for any headshot build, you always have to run that chest piece, basically. So if you don't have it or you need a really good one, I would recommend weapon damage, headshot damage, and weapon handling or crit hit chance rolled on the third slot. That's definitely worth farming for sure. We got Mask over here at DCD, or sorry, over here at the White House. Those terrible Ubisoft Connect just updated, and it won't let me get rid of notifications, so I apologize. In Mass, in the White House area for Mask, we got the Coyotes Mask, which you can farm for. That's highly worth it. The Vial Mask as well is extremely worth it. And then you get the Punch Drunk Mask. Now that gives you an extra 20% headshot damage, and it mixes really well with that Chain Killer chest piece. Now I would farm Douglas and Harding for it. I don't see it on the map here today, but it might be over on East Side or New York City. But otherwise, you could just farm here at the White House area. We got chest pieces at Bank HQ, so there's two exotics you can get. That's the Tardigrade exotic chest piece and the Ridgeway's Pride. The Ridgeway's Pride, you have to finish the project first, but if you're in a group with someone like me who's already gotten it, they can drop it for you, and then you can finish the project just by having it dropped for you, basically. Lastly, we got gear system mods at Federal Emergency Bunker. These don't come around every day anymore. So if you need a really, maxed out rolled mod, like a 12% crit hit damage mod or 6% crit hit chance mod, I would farm this today and just, try to get it hopefully today. All right, let's go check out the East Side Target Loot highlights. All right, agents, we're over here on the East Side Target Loot highlights right before New York City. So starting off, I'll just get the gear sets out of the way. We got True Patriot Downtown East. I can't recommend 4 pieces of True Patriot enough. I'll put the build video in the top right. It's basically what I always run now is 4 pieces of True Patriot, the Memento, and a Sokolov chest with the Lady Death, and then the Mop as the secondary weapon. That's what I've updated from my build video. We got Hunter's Fury at District Union Arena. You can get that with weapon damage or crit hit chance, or weapon damage and crit hit damage. You can even roll all armor rolls on it. I've tried that. It just doesn't really feel right, but the True Patriot always beats it in my opinion. But if you want to farm that and Legendary today and try to get max rolls out, that would be worth it. And then we got Tip of the Spear at Judiciary Square. I don't really recommend getting Tip of the Spear. It's really niche for what you need it to get done, usually in a raid. Got Aces and Eights at American History Museum. That is worth running 3 pieces with a Chain Killer chest piece, and I believe 2 pieces of Raw the Holding. And then Strikers, I'd never recommend. It's terrible. You can run 3 pieces for the extra rate of fire and kind of mix it with a Merciless maybe to add some stability and extra rate of fire. Otherwise, I just kind of don't recommend it. And then finally, Ongoing Directive. That's great for bleed builds. You can mix it with or without the Ridgeway's Pride. And also, I did want to point out there's Douglas and Harding at Viewpoint Museum. So if you do want that Punch Drunk Mask with that 20% headshot damage, I would farm Viewpoint Museum today. As well as Fox's Prayer knee pads with the 8% damage to targets out of cover. I would farm the East Small area today. You got 4 control points that are all manhunts as well that you can farm today for those Fox's Prayer knee pads. C. Providence Defense at air and space, so that's the sacrifice with perfect glass cannon. Amplifies all damage by 30%, but all damage that's incoming by 60. We got shotguns at Jefferson Plaza, so you can get the Sweet Dreams exotic shotgun. I never really use it. The best shotguns in this game are the Mop with 10% armor on kill, the Custom Inmate 70, and the Marine Super 90. Those are the 3 shotguns that I highly recommend farming for, especially the Mop. We got assault rifles at Federal Triangle, so you can get the exotic Chameleon, which is extremely worth it for sure. You can get the named assault rifles like the Maniac, that's a named military AKM. The Burnout, that's a named FAMAS. That goes really well on a FAMAS focus vigilance build. And then of course the best assault rifles in the game. You can get the FAMAS, the military AKM, the Carbine 7, the Police M4, and the G36 variants. I also see Araldo Holdings at Grand Washington today, so I always get these rolled with weapon damage, headshot damage, and weapon handling. I think that's the best way to roll it. Get 2 of those and mix it into your headshot damage build, and try to get a backpack with vigilance or composure on it. Alright, let's go check out what we got on the New York City Target Loot highlights, and then we'll let you guys go. Alright, agents, we're over here in the New York City Target Loot highlights, last part of the video, and fortunately, it's the part where the highlight is. So the highlight for today is the Bullet King. You can get the exotic Bullet King and the exotic Pestilence when you farm LMGs, but at Wall Street, it's different. You know, if it was at Wall Street or the Tombs, then it just increases your drop rate for the Bullet King. Because it's a Riker's mission, the drop rate chance increases. Otherwise, you can get a named LMG like the Good Times with Perfect Fast Hands. The new Reliable is extremely good for sure. Quiet Roar, Carnage, Sleipnir, there's all sorts of named LMGs in this game. For gear sets, we got a few. Let's see, we got Future Initiative at Stranded Tanker, so 4 pieces with that is a great healer build. I always recommend a chest piece with Alp Summit that has Empathetic Resolve on it, and mix that if you don't have the chest and backpack for Future Initiative. And then we got Eclipse Protocol at the Tombs. That's always worth getting for those fire damage builds. You run 4 pieces with either Imperial Dynasty holster or the Vile Mask, and then 1 piece of Golan gear. And usually you want to roll skill tier on it. If you're running Technician, you can roll armor on it or weapon damage, whatever you like. You got Bellstone at Pathway Park. Now, the Liquid Engineer with Perfect Bloodsucker, I believe, is a Dark Zone exclusive. But if you're looking for the everyday carrier with Perfectly Efficient, that is something you can farm for in the light zone and it will drop. Otherwise, we got gloves at Battery Park, so that's the BTSU gloves and the Contractor's gloves. I highly recommend farming Petrov for those Contractor's gloves. They give you 8% damage to armor, and I saw Petrov earlier in the DC area, I believe. Lastly, we got Foundry Bulwark at Liberty Island if you want to farm for 3 or 4 pieces, but remember, Foundry Bulwark and Future Initiative chest and backpack pieces are still locked behind the Iron Horse raid, so those are just 2 items each that will not drop in the light zone. And then lastly, we got Sokolov at Financial District. So obviously, if you're running an SMG, always run at least 1 piece of this. If you're running Hunter's Fury or True Patriot, run 1 piece. Otherwise, if it's all high end, I highly recommend running all 3 pieces. Alright, agents, well that was the Target Loot for today. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed my content. And if you would like to become a member for support and exclusive perks, you can click the join button below. That would be awesome. And shout out to everyone who has, like Hyperactive, Heaven High, Incognito, Cybersecurity. All you guys are amazing. Silverback, shout out to you guys. You can also grab some Shadow Gaming merchandise by clicking the link in the pinned comment and video description below. I got a ton of stuff to grab up, a huge lineup of all sorts of different shirts, pants, apparel items, merchandise all over the place at Teespring, so definitely check that out. You can also support me on Alt Tech like Patreon and Subscribestar if you prefer. Otherwise, if you're still watching this video right now to the end, thank you. That's truly the best way to support me and whitelist me on your ad blocker. Take care, agents, and be sure to stay tuned for more daily Division 2 content. This is Agent Shadow signing off. I will see you in the next video. Take care, agents.